Today we're discussing the difference between a protective, um, very well taken care of, nearly optimal, like slash perfect growing condition for a new Loquat seedling versus growing Loquats outside in the environment, dealing with all the pests and the weather and fungus and all those factors that come into play usually when you're growing fruit trees generally, really, not just Loquat. But the purpose of this video today is just I want to show the difference between growing Loquats inside versus outside. When I say inside, I mean in a protective structure, whether it's a greenhouse or whatever. Like you can do outside, but also it's like half and half. You know, you can just put some like pillars on the side of the tree and add like a mesh, a shade cloth, a UV resistant or UV reflecting panels like the ones I have on top of this greenhouse, and maybe some mesh on the side. You know, just that alone, really, it gives it its own environment and protects it from a lot of different factors. Like if you're going to go with a hard material like that, it would be very beneficial as far as like keeping the plant from getting wet. Which I don't know if you guys know that. Most of the time, people don't know that plants don't really like to get wet. Okay, so I've seen a lot of people, and obviously I was one of those people that I used to just spray the plant with water, right? Because I feel, oh look, it looks cool. It's gonna create humidity. It's gonna like it. It's gonna feel good about it, right? And this is really not the case. Plants don't like their leaves to get wet, probably with an exception of few out there, and somewhere in the tropics, like in the deep tropics, where it rains a lot and plants develop all kinds of adaptations to, you know, absorb some moisture and nutrients from the rain water. So but the majority of the plants that we're growing, the majority of fruit trees we're growing, probably not gonna like water on their leaves. It attracts fungus, obviously. That's the number one thing. And insects too. They, you know, when they see a wet wood is a lot easier to pierce and dig through and eat than, you know, hard dry wood. So it's really no benefit to the plant, from what I've seen, to have, you know, their leaves usually or mostly wet all the time, you know, because there's tons of reasons for that. But definitely, please take my advice. Don't spray your trees. Don't spray your leaves. You know, maybe like once in a while for whatever purpose you have, psychological. You know, it's just a strange thing that people do most of the time. It's not necessary. It's really very harmful for the plant. But let's get into the video, and let's start discussing the differences. All right, so here we have our premier semi-dwarf, I would say. I wouldn't consider this dwarf really, because what you're seeing in front of you is about 8.5 feet of growth here. And when I got this, this plant was less than half. Probably a third of the size that you're seeing right now. So I'm not, and this is just like maybe like 14 months worth of growth in this greenhouse, in this pot, which has its bottoms open, so it basically has access to the ground. Excuse me. So what you're seeing here is a prime example of a premier Loquat first year growth. I don't think it can do any better than this, right? When I got most of my plants, they were maybe 1.5 years old from the nursery. And you probably have experience, if you're into fruit trees and, you know, growing plants generally, when you buy online, when you go to nurseries, these people have so many plants. Okay, they have so much going on. It's not economical for them to go ahead and take care of them and look after each and every single plant and make sure it's perfect. Some nurseries are better, okay, but generally, like every time I buy a plant, it's got something going on with it. It's struggling, you know, one way or another, right? So this is no difference. I got this, it was just puny in so many different ways, not many leaves, not many branches. It was in a 7 gallon pot. It did have a nice, well established root system. So that was really probably one of the advantages that I had, and I usually like to have. You know, guys, like just buy. You gotta buy a plant with a really good established root system. The ones that don't, or the ones that get pruned sometimes for shipping purposes or whatever purpose they go with, usually nurseries and other businesses. It's really not. It's no good. It's not beneficial to buy a plant with a heavily pruned root system, right? So this one, when it came, it had a really nice root system. It was developed in a 7 gallon pot, and 1/3 of the sizes you're seeing right now. Okay, so the majority of the time, this plant has been protected heavily from every single environmental factor that usually affects these plants negatively. Okay, so it hasn't gotten wet. The humidity is at the level that the plants need, and I have different types of meshes all over the place. Because I do want some air circulation to take place here, but still, I don't want insects to come in and make this their home. Some of them are, somehow still finding ways to get in, and I take care of them. I get rid of them. Either I just pluck them out and throw them outside, or I have to terminate them. Just because this is really, when you look at this is insect heaven, I call it, right? So, yeah. Well, look, this is a prime example of what I was saying as far as what nurseries do in their plants, right? Just look at this, okay? Do you see how it looks like? It's just these plants are just not happy. They're surviving, they're alive. They can be brought back, they can be incentivized to come upright again, but as is right now, it's just struggling. It just doesn't look good. Look at the leaf coverage. Look at this. Like, some branches and twigs have absolutely no leaves on them, and it does have new growth and all that. So that's how this plant is still somewhat alive and trying to come back. Now, this is a fantastic avocado, a plant I recently acquired because I have a Joey avocado here, and I bought this for cross-pollination purposes. Also, it's a fruit tree and it's already producing, so I gotta uppot it and take care of it and bring it back to life. But this is my Joey avocado, and look at the difference, right? Now, look at that. Look at the leaf color compared to that one over there. Look how dark it is. Not like zero issues, quite literally. Now, I bent them this way because I want that new growth here, and my idea was to graft different varieties, because I don't have a whole lot of space here to keep buying plants and putting them in the greenhouse. So each one of those trees I have, I'm going to start grafting different varieties, different types of flowers, and having them really close to each other for maximum cross-pollination. But anyways, let's not get off topic. I just wanted to show you this to kind of make an example on the condition that this tree was in when I first bought it. Not horrible. It was alive, it's fine, but when I took care of it, it tripled in size, and within 1 year, right? I'm eating from it now, okay? So take a look at the wood. Okay. That's how it was when I first bought it. So that wasn't me. I didn't do that. But something scratched. It's fine. That's not a big deal. But the wood is perfect. The leaves are perfect. No disease. No problem whatsoever. Right? Now let's go ahead and go outside and take a look at the ones that grow outside. And we're back. Here in this spot, my property, we have about 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 varieties, I believe. 12 or 13 varieties of Loquat. Some I'm growing from seed myself. Some I bought them grafted. They're named varieties. This right here in front of you is a Brendanton Loquat. Okay, this is a grafted Brendanton Loquat. Look at the difference. These have been subjected to so many different negative environmental factors. Okay, excessive heat, triple digits for extended periods of time. Unprotected, by the way. This is all they get. They get this big, this big oak right here, providing a little bit of love, you know, some shady love, and that's it. That's all they get. So they get this, right? They are heavily mulched. There's tons of mulch here. There's a lot of wood chips in the ground, some pine needles above ground, so they got a good growing environment here. It's just the environmental factors aren't ideal. They get rained on. Sometimes it gets really wet here. They get rained on a lot. Their wood becomes wet. Insects come and munch on their leaves all the time, especially the new growth. But hey, it's here, it's alive, it's resisting. Now this plant is sitting at 3.5 max feet tall, and when I bought it, it was exactly the same size as the Premier Loquat that I have in the greenhouse. So they are unable to put out new growth. They're constantly attacked by so many different creatures. You know, if you got the fungus, you got so many different insects that like to munch on this. You got the grasshoppers, you got all kinds of butterflies that lay their eggs here, and they'll be eating growing on the leaves. So they haven't been able to grow. They haven't been able to get up there in height compared to the one in the greenhouse there. And I have been trimming some branches because they were dead. I've seen branches with fungus on them. So I'm trying to take care of this as much as possible. And in addition to that, one other thing that happens usually to plants that are outside, which you may or may not have noticed this, but they actually start shooting new growth from the rootstock. This they suffer so much at the top. The plant is like, look, this isn't working at the top. I have to shoot new growth from the bottom. And then they started coming up, and I've been trimming them. Whenever I see it, I trim it, right? So look at this. It's like this wood has been through battle, right? Freezes, snow, rain, drought, triple digit, direct sunlight. So there's a lot going on here. Now, I do suspect that at some point one day, these are going to come up really, really strong, really adapted and capable of defending themselves against a lot of different pests and fungus and environmental factors. They just, in years, they change. Their chemical composition, their hormones, they would change. They wouldn't be the same plants, not exactly like the one I have in the greenhouse. I would say in 5 years, if you go ahead, if you were a scientist and you would go into studying all their chemicals and their composition, what the trees produce, the sap, and all of its ways of functioning, you would find a significant difference between the one that was protected and babied and the ones that you have in front of you right here. Brendanton Loquat. Now let's go ahead and take a look at a couple of others. Look at this massive leaf Big Jim. Whew. Oh my God. It's incredible. This is huge. They call it Big Jim for a reason, right? Big Jim, when I bought it, it was young, and now it's sitting at maybe 2.5, 3 feet tall. But it's going through the same thing, guys, right? The freezes, the sun, the pest, all of that. So it hasn't been able to grow as well. But I guarantee you, if you inspect the root system here, it would be massive. The root system would be very impressive, because this plant is all it's been doing is just re-strategizing, sending more energy into the ground than above ground, just because of the type of environment that it's in, the amount of struggle that it's been going through, forces it to change strategies of growth. Here we have the this is a Palucci. Yes, I remember now. This is a Palucci. This apparently this one has the biggest fruit out of all of them. One of the biggest. Same thing, guys. You know, it's just they're growing. They're fine. They're coming up. This is a new season. They've been in the ground for over a year. I have taken care of them. I haven't let go of them at all. Just not as good as the greenhouse environment. This is a seedling I put up from seed. Another one from seed. That's early red. This one right here had a really weak, a very squiggly branch here, main branch. I had to get rid of it. See, like when you get rid of that, bunch of different branches come up. All right, so you got to keep that in mind, especially with Loquats. They like to be pruned. This is not the best growth for Loquat trees. Really, what I'm gonna do next, probably, I'm gonna snap this and get rid of this, and I might get rid of this and this right here, and just let the plant grow brand new. Okay, now a lot of these Loquats I've noticed they are not grafted when I bought them. They're probably air layered. So yeah, which really I kind of like. Now look at this right here. On the topic of insects and all that, you see this? There we go. Look at that. You see what I mean? Now I'm gonna go. You know, I don't want to be a cruel person generally. I want to be as kind as possible. Obviously, I have to be kinder to myself than the world around me. Otherwise, I'd get killed. I'd get eaten up here, right? So it's a cruel, tough world. These creatures don't care about you. These insects, you know, they have a mission. They have an objective. Sometimes their objective is to eat your plant and your fruit and your produce and everything, right? And leave you dry. This is not why I came here, and I didn't sacrifice years of my life and so much money to come here and be naive like that. But you know, when I look at this plant right here, this is my fruit tree, and these might be enemies. So sorry, you cannot eat my fruit trees. Whatever you are, you know, you gotta go somewhere else and do your business, okay? There's another set of eggs. But yeah, there you go. So that was an example of what happens. If I let these, look, you know, those eggs are there for a reason. They're gonna come up, whatever it is, butterflies, you know, whatever it is, some sort of insect. It's trying to eat the tree. And these babies are very young. They need to be nurtured and taken care of just like basically a human baby, right? This is a Nippon Loquat, and this is unknown from Ecuador. Very it's different as far as its ability to take the cold weather. It struggles more than the usual ones that I have. So this has been adapted to be more tropical, I guess. This is a Yehuda Loquat. That's a Novak and a Christmas right there. And this little baby right here is another one I grew from seed. Okay. Now there you go. That's the difference between growing Loquat in a protective environment versus growing them outside and having them susceptible and be in the environment and having them get attacked so constantly, really, like especially when I first planted these last year. I didn't know what to expect because I've never been here that long. So this was kind of a shock to me as far as how much these plants get attacked, right? And I do live in the middle of the forest, right? So this is not a normal city environment. So there's a lot of life here. There's a lot of insects. There's a lot of living beings that want to eat. This is why when you see me, like if I make videos and you see me kind of letting go of these weeds and letting them come up, it's because I want them to kind of have something to eat outside of my plants, right? If you have more weeds than trees, right? Usually, like logically, most of the time, these insects, they're going to go for the weeds because they're adapted. They're from this area. They're from this environment. They're going to go for what they're used to and not for what's new. Now, some will do still, like they will attack your plants, but generally, like most creatures, they're creatures of habit. They're not creatures of entertainment and all that, human ways of life. So they like to just stick around with what they know. So don't take what they know, leave what they know for them. That's what they love to eat, okay? And just put your stuff in there in the middle of it. So like take this as an example right here. That's my one of my apriums. See, there's tons of it that's just growing all over the place here. It's okay. Look, this is beneficial for the ground one way or another. Your job is to give the ground the food it wants, the food it needs, and give these trees what they want to eat, and leave the ground cover be, okay? So there you go. I think I've said enough about Loquats and other things, and I hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and stay tuned for more.